Hi, I'm Richard Engler, founding partner of Autonomy Management Limited. We are a record label, management services, artist services, and essentially people come to us with a musical project and we take it from the music to the audience. So that could be anything from recording to planning and budgeting to marketing, creative, distribution, the whole lot. We've got a team of 9 people and we're based here in Tileyard. We've given quite a few lectures at Tileyard Education. They've called us in to talk to the students about what we do and talk about marketing and design and other stuff. But I think the key thing for us with Tileyard Education has been the relationship we've formed in terms of taking their students and using them at Autonomy. And this started off very informally. We'd have people come and do a little bit of work experience, which obviously benefited the students, but helped us. Having this sort of young cohort of enthusiastic people coming to work for us has been great, a real tonic for us. And since we started, I think we've taken on maybe 7 or 8 full-time members of staff who've come out of Tileyard Education. And it works for us because we can develop a relationship with the potential employees before we even commit to that level of undertaking. They get to know us, we get to know them, we can work out what their strengths are, they can work out if they want to come and work for us, and we can do work experience, and then it turns into full-time jobs, and it's been a great pathway for us. So we've had some fantastic people come out of Tileyard who are now full-time.
Hi, I'm Steve Cole. I'm the head of teaching and learning at Tileyard Education. Working with Autonomy has been absolutely fantastic. It's such a joy to have practitioners from the industry contribute to our courses. It's one of the things that makes it so special. Tileyard Education is unique because it's actually embedded into a working music industry hub, which is pretty unique in itself. And then when you add an education provider into that, it makes it a very special experience.
Hi, my name's Jack and I'm the head of marketing at Autonomy Music Group. I studied music business at Tileyard Education and graduated in 2021.
Hi, I'm Amanda Bramchuk and I'm a product manager and artist manager at Autonomy Music Group. I've studied songwriting and production and I've graduated in 2021.
My name is Marta. I'm a social media and campaign manager at Autonomy. I studied music business and I graduated in 2022.
Hi, my name's Justine and I head up the digital department here at Autonomy and I'm also a campaign manager. I studied a music business master's at Tileyard Education and I graduated a little bit less than a year ago in June.
What I enjoy most about my job and specifically working at Autonomy is the versatility of the role. So my role kind of involves doing so many different things that, there's never a boring second. One of my career highlights was probably the first video shoot that I ever produced. We had really very little budget. We had about 30 creatives that I was managing and I'd never done anything like that before. But the film that we got out at the end of it was so incredible and it eventually, was used to help this artist get a lot of major label opportunities, a lot of live opportunities. It got screened at the Everyman Music and Film Festival. And for me, it was just a massive confidence booster because I'd literally, never done anything like that before, was really thrown in the deep end. And I think that's one of the great things about Autonomy as well, is that, we're a small team and everyone kind of gets stuck in with everything.
What I enjoy most at Autonomy is that there is actually no day-to-day. So I get to film music videos, I get to edit music videos, I get to plan, go on shoots, and I get to give ideas. And then I also get to run ads and do the nerdy stuff and spreadsheets. So it's just everything all in one. And I think that's my favorite part.
I would say that my job is really creative because I do social media and I also do campaign management, which means that I'm working under different aspects of the campaigns. It's a lot of planning, researching, and actually getting stuff done. The thing I enjoy the most about working at Autonomy is the opportunity that we have to just be creative and get to know and work with many different artists.
I got my job at Autonomy because since I was on the business course, Steve, our head of learning, decided to send us the job listing that Autonomy sent to him because they wanted to make sure that they'd get people from the Tileyard community, and that's how I got started. The interviewing and hiring process for Autonomy was actually really relaxed, which I really enjoyed. It was just, I think we had one chat. They asked me to do a little task. I went home, I did it, and I think a couple weeks later they brought me back in for the chat where they were like, hey, do you want the job? So it was really relaxed, really stress-free, really painless, which was really good because I've been on interviews where the whole process is just nerve-wracking and you feel like you're being looked at from all these different angles, so that was good.
So one of the first assignments that we were given was to write an economic report on a company of our choosing. I chose Autonomy because I was kind of interested in working here anyway, and Steve was nice enough to kind of introduce me to Richard, who runs Autonomy. I had a few chats with him, just really pestered him until he eventually let me do this report. And once he let me do the report, I just didn't really ever leave. So I kept sort of bugging him for different opportunities, whether that was, you know, shadowing for a little bit, work experience for a little bit, then a part-time job. Within that time, I just made myself absolutely as indispensable as possible. Until eventually, I think, you know, I kind of sort of built myself into the culture of the office.
I found out about Autonomy when I arrived at Tileyard, because we got the opportunity to get to know everyone who was working within these buildings. But then it was Steve that let us know they were looking for interns, and that's how it started.
Internships and career opportunities with Autonomy and the way that we work with them at Tileyard Education has just grown organically. But right from the beginning, David and Richard have been so encouraging, and after meeting some of our cohorts of music business students, they built relationships with ones, particularly the ones that they thought they needed to help them move their business on, particularly in marketing and digital. And they were able to recruit directly from our student cohorts, which is absolutely fantastic and is really the reason behind Tileyard Education existing.
The two greatest things about studying at Tileyard were building those connections with people and just allowing yourself the time and space to really think about music. It's a really frantic industry where you're constantly doing stuff, you're constantly trying to kind of explore new ideas and do new work. And so that time to just sit and read and explore the industry was absolutely invaluable. I think in some respects, nothing can really ever prepare you for working in music. I think there's so many elements to it where you just have to try it, possibly fail it, in order to kind of learn how to do it better next time. What Tileyard allows you to do is to really start building your network. And to be honest, that's the most important asset that you've got.
Tileyard equipped me for the working world by just being surrounded by so many professionals all the time. You have massive industry people around you at all times, and you learn how to approach them and do the whole networking thing without it being a networking thing, without it feeling forced.
I think what I've mostly enjoyed within Tileyard Education, you know, I was studying during lockdown really, so everything went on hybrid, or there weren't really necessarily that many lessons where we could come to the school, but still it was very well executed.
I did my undergraduate in another university and I was studying music business as well, but Tileyard was very, very different because of the environment it's in. We're in the heart of King's Cross, so you get to see and work with many different people and artists from many different sides of the industry. That's what makes Tileyard the place to be.
The most important thing that you can do when you come to study at Tileyard is to utilise their community. So if you're not sure, then look on the website and figure out what sort of companies exist here. If there are some that you love, that you can see yourself working in, that you want to speak to, then come here and use Tileyard Education as your launchpad.
If you want to study at Tileyard Education or any other university, or want to do something in your life, just do it. Do not doubt yourself. I did feel like that not so long ago, a couple years ago, when I was graduating my bachelor's degree from BIM London, and I was like, what should I do next? But as I say, if you're ambitious enough and you're talented, you're smart and intelligent, you can do whatever you want. So that's my final push for you. Just do it. Just do it. You never know, like, if it's gonna work out in the end. Do not have too high expectations about anything or any university, or, you know, you're not gonna be Beyonce in one day. This thing takes time, and I believe that Tileyard Education is definitely a good opportunity for you to open these doors towards your success.